Good morning, I'm Chitrakar and these are the headlines of the hour. Heavy snowfall reported in the country's Himalayan district of Humla. General life disrupted amid the dip in mercury. Nepali nationals struggling to escape Russian security forces as government efforts fail to produce results. Those managing to return share their plight of tragic circumstances. Hemant Soren, the youngest Chief Minister of India's Jharkhand, arrested by the Enforcement Directorate in a corruption case. And Iran beat Syria on penalties in the final round of 16 match at the AFC Asian Cup 2023 and set up a quarterfinal clash with four times champions Japan. Heavy snowfall has been reported in the Himalayan district of Humla today. This is the second snowfall in the district this year. The first snowfall in the district had been reported on 4th of December. However, snowfall had been witnessed in Humla between January and February last year. With the dip in mercury due to heavy snowfall, general life in Humla has been affected. The only aviation service of Humla has also been disrupted. Heavy snowfall has been reported mainly in the Limi, Yari and Chala, which are in the upper region of Namkha rural municipality. Meanwhile, the snowfall has cast positive spell on the farmers of the district. Although the monsoon rain and snowfall affects livestock, it contributes in farming. Limi, Muchu, Til, among other places, have received heavy snowfall. The District Police Administration Humla has said that heavy snowfall has disrupted life in the northern part of the district. 13 Nepali nationals recruited in the Russian security forces have already died in the ongoing Russia-Ukraine conflict. The government has no data on the exact number of Nepali nationals representing Russian army, while Russia has not issued any information about the same. Despite several diplomatic efforts of the government for the return of Nepali nationals recruited in the Russian army, such efforts have yet to produce any results. However, the fact that Russia has been deploying Nepali nationals in the front line against Ukraine in the ongoing conflict has already been proven. Russia has also not allowed the Nepali nationals to return home. However, a few Nepalis have begun returning after escaping from Russian army. 31-year-old Dipendra Thapa Magar of Jajarkot has returned after managing to escape. He was recruited in the Russian army last year. According to Dipendra, he had paid 800,000 rupees to a fixer and had reached Russia through Dubai on a visit visa. Dipendra, who had quit his job in Nepal army, was arrested by Ukrainian security forces during the war but managed to escape after 2 months and 15 days. Based on his experience, Dipendra suggests nobody to visit Russia in present circumstances. He has also urged the government to address the issues of other Nepali nationals stranded in Russian security forces or held by Ukraine. Our colleague Bikash Acharya had a conversation with Dipendra Thapa Magar, who escaped the Russia-Ukraine war to return home. Here's how Magar remembers his journey to and from the battlefield.
I tried going to Poland for work but could not. I even tried to go to Malaysia because I had no option. I waited for up to 9 months for Malaysian visa, which I did not get. That left me with the only alternative, which was Russia, because I knew how to handle guns anyway, so I thought at least going to Russia would be better than doing nothing. Their salary also seemed average. I applied for visit visa. I reached Moscow through Dubai as transit. The Moscow immigration sent many like me back home, but somehow I made it through. I think it was meant to be. Me and a friend of mine stayed at a hotel the first night. The next morning, we went to the army barrack. An officer took our passport and asked us where we were from. After knowing that we were from Nepal, he made us sign some documents, and then we were recruited in the Russian army a few hours later. A bus then took us to a place called Yemen Guard. There are no academic qualifications as such required to be recruited in the army. A school-level education is enough. As for age, they usually say 18 to 45 years is required, but I know there were men as old as 55, so anyone who is healthy was good enough to be recruited, even if they were 60 years old. As for medical requirement, they conducted a chest x-ray and drew our blood. That's it, nothing else. When we were in the battlefield, we would fight for all day, and then when it got dark, we got lost. We do not know how to return or where to return. Many will have already died by the time we think of returning. When we lose sense of direction, we can end up on the Ukrainian side, and that's when they take us as hostage. I had given up on my life. I felt like there was no returning. I thought it was only a matter of time before I died. That's also why I was active on social media platforms like TikTok. It was to avoid going into depression. The war was so terrifying that I have no words to explain how it felt. No words would justify the emotion. Imagine being thrown hundreds of stones at you, drones are dropping bombs on you. When we fought, it wouldn't take even an hour for a green forest to completely turn black. It is not a joke. They have bombs and tankers that can completely destroy infrastructures. Imagine what happens to people. Over half a dozen Nepalese have died in the war. I'm sure you have not even seen their bodies, but there are so many other deaths that we do not know of. We have no record of who is dead or where. I still cannot believe I'm in Nepal. It still takes me time to process the whole experience, so I cannot give any suggestion about how to repatriate all those who are still there. I can only share the experience of how I returned. There are a few agencies in Ukraine like Indian Agency. I hear there's also a Nepali agency. Those who are looking for an option can contact them. Luck can also play a part. If we can somehow cross the immigration and reach Russia, which in itself is a difficult task, we can return Nepal. Luck plays a part.
Nepal Oil Corporation (NOC) has increased the price of petroleum products, including diesel, petrol, kerosene, and cooking gas. Yesterday's meeting of the board members of the corporation decided to increase the price of diesel and petrol by 4 rupees per litre and kerosene by 2 rupees per litre. Likewise, the price of cooking gas has increased by 15 rupees per cylinder. According to the new list, the price of LP gas has reached 1,910 rupees. The price of petrol in Kathmandu, Pokhara and Dipayal has reached 170 rupees per litre, while the price of diesel and kerosene has reached 158 rupees. Meanwhile, the price of petrol in Surkhet and Dang has been maintained 169 rupees per litre, and the price of diesel and kerosene is 157 rupees per litre. Meanwhile, a litre of petrol will cost 167.5 rupees in Biratnagar, Janakpur, Amlekganj, Nepalganj and Athangadi among other places, and diesel and kerosene will cost 155.5 rupees per litre. Time now for our segment, Public Pulse, where you text us with your opinion.
Public Pulse.
Here's the question: what do you term deploying specialist doctors to hospitals beyond their specialization? The options are A. Conspiracies in transfer, B. Doctors seeking benefit, and C. Poor leadership. Voting is on. Type any WS, select your option A, B or C and send it to 34001 to share your opinion with us. Victims of loan sharks have begun their march for justice from east and west together. The team, which had left from Kakadbitta in the east, has reached Urabari of Morang, while the team beginning from Gadda Chowki in the west had reached Chaumala of Kailali. The victims have said that their past agitations did not ensure them the justice they had demanded and had compelled them to stage another round of protest. They have said that they will not return home until justice is served. Addressing the previous agitation of the victims of loan sharks, the government had directed the district administration offices to register their complaints. Despite the administration doing so, the victims have yet to be served justice. The long-distance march on foot and the ill-managed stay during prime chilly winter is concerning. Victims having to protest time and again despite being assured of justice certainly raises several questions against the systems of the country. In our Public Voice segment, we had asked people in several provinces what they think of victims of loan sharks taking an arduous journey in the capital in search of justice. Let's take a look at what they had to say.
सरकारले चाहेमा चाहिँ उनीहरूको समस्या समाधान सम्बन्धित जिल्लामै हुन सक्छ।
चाँडैभन्दा चाँडै यो मिटर ब्याजीको समस्याको समाधान सरकारले गर्नुपर्छ।
आफैले निर्णय गर्ने, आन्दोलन स्थगित गराउने अनि फेरि ती गरिब जनतालाई काठमाडौँ बोलाउने फेरि मधेसबाट तराईबाट यो अति भयो।
सरकारले समाधान गर्नु पर्यो त्यसको लागि।
घरबार विहीन हुने अवस्था छ, त्यस कारणले गर्दाखेरि यो समस्या छिटोभन्दा छिटो सरकारले यो समस्या समाधान गर्नतर्फ आफ्ना कामहरू अगाडि बढाउनुपर्छ।
आफ्नो धनमाल बर्बाद पनि गरियो, कति त झुन्डेर मरेन्। यो मिटर ब्याजलाई छिटोभन्दा छिटो सरकारले सुनेर यो समस्या सब गर्नु पर्यो।
केही उपाय नलाएपछि चाहिँ उनीहरूलाई आइपरेको बाध्यता हो। यो
मिटर ब्याजीका नाममा होस् या अन्य नाममा यसरी हिँडेर जानु भनेको यो अवस्थामा त्यति राम्रो सन्देश जाला जस्तो लाग्दैन। त्यसकारणले त्यो विषयमा धेरैभन्दा धेरै सरकारले नै सोच्नुपर्छ।
आफ्नो श्री सम्पत्ति सबै सकेर पनि कहिले उनीहरूको ऋण तिरिन सक्ने अवस्था छ। यो चाहिँ एकदमै मारमा परेको हुनाले नेपाल सरकारले यसलाई तुरुन्तै कसरी के गरी हुन्छ यसको समस्या समाधान गरिदिनुपर्छ।
राम्रो गराइदिनु पर्यो नि अब जनताहरूलाई।
अन्याय न्याय के हो यो राष्ट्रले हेर्नुपर्छ।
Time now for international update. Hemant Soren has been arrested in the land scam by Enforcement Directorate yesterday, becoming the first sitting Chief Minister of Jharkhand to be taken into custody in a corruption case. Hours before he was whisked away by ED officials, Hemant handed over his resignation to Governor C.P. Radhakrishnan, even as the governing Jharkhand Mukti Morcha announced the name of his close aide and Transport Minister Champai Soren as the next CM. The arrest was a finale of the cat-and-mouse game played by Hemant with the central agency for the last 2 days over his questioning in the alleged money laundering in a land scam that involved transfer and settlement of land parcels by forging records and documents. Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg has apologized to families who say their children had been harmed by social media during a fiery hearing in the US Senate. Zuckerberg, who runs Instagram and Facebook, turned to them and said no one should go through what they had. He and the bosses of TikTok, Snap, X, formerly Twitter, and Discord were questioned for almost 4 hours by senators from both parties. Lawmakers wanted to know what they are doing to protect children online. It was a rare opportunity for the US senators to question tech bosses. Zuckerberg and TikTok CEO Shouji Chu voluntarily agreed to testify, but the heads of Snap, X, and Discord initially refused and were sent government-issued subpoenas. Behind the 5 tech bosses sat families who said their children had self-harmed or killed themselves as a result of social media content. While the hearing mostly focused on the protection of children from online sexual exploitation, the questions varied widely as the senators took advantage of having 5 powerful executives under the oath. After the hearing, some of the parents who were in the room staged a rally outside, with several calling on lawmakers to urgently pass legislation to hold firms accountable. Yemen's Houthis have said their naval forces carried out an operation targeting a U.S. merchant vessel. Houthi military spokesperson Yahya Sariya said in a statement the Yemeni armed forces had targeted an American merchant ship named Koi, headed to Palestinian territory. During a statement, Sariya said Yemen would not hesitate to retaliate against British-American escalation. The U.S. Central Command said in a statement yesterday that its forces had destroyed Yemen's Houthi surface-to-air missile, which was prepared to launch. World powers hope to prevent a wider conflict, but tensions in the Middle East remain high after Yemen's Iran-aligned Houthi rebels said they would keep attacking U.S. and British warships in the Red Sea in solidarity with Palestinians. Barricades burned in Haiti's capital, Port-au-Prince, as people protested against the government of Prime Minister Ariel Henry, demanding more to be done to stop a wave of violence that has displaced scores of residents. Haiti is facing a worsening conflict between alliances of heavily armed gangs that control most of the capital and are expanding their territory to rural areas, bringing sexual violence, lootings, and indiscriminate killings. Kidnappings, meanwhile, almost doubled from 2022 to nearly 2,500 as gangs target people on transport routes to extract costly ransoms from their friends and relatives. According to UNICEF, some 314,000 have become internally displaced amid the wave of violence. Before wrapping up, here's a look at the top stories once again. Heavy snowfall reported in the country's Himalayan district of Humla. General life disrupted amid the dip in mercury. Nepali nationals struggling to escape Russian security forces as government efforts fail to produce results. Those managing to return share their plight of tragic circumstances. Hemant Soren, the youngest chief minister of India's Jharkhand, arrested by the Enforcement Directorate in a corruption case. And Iran beat Syria on penalties in the final round of 16 match at the AFC Asian Cup 2023 and set up a quarter-final clash with 4-time champions Japan. That's all for the moment. Thank you for watching. Bye for now.